Kenya Moore was just as guilty as Britt. Y'all gonna hate me for this. Y'all not gonna like my opinion. And I already know that y'all gonna eat me up in the comments, but do I care? No. Y'all really dragging this. So for Bravo to act like Kenya sharing pictures of Britt, inappropriate pictures of Britt, that obviously are already readily available externally outside of like her phone or whatever else, I don't really understand why we're making this an issue. Now, did Kenya go too far? Absolutely. You're telling me that the opening of your salon is going to be about this other young lady, and then you're just going to take your time and pretty much highlight the fact that she was a video vixen, which we already knew that portion of it. But if she was like in those types of adult videos, then she was in those types of adult videos. Personally, I don't think that's a big deal. Personally, I don't really feel like that's a dig. Like, that's how Mama was making her money, and that's okay. She even said that she was a video vixen at some point, and she said that she used to date all these celebrities or whatever. That's really not the important factor here. The fact that Bravo felt like this was revenge and that this is so completely disrespectful to who Britt is, and that like Kenya just crossed the line. Did y'all watch the previous episode when Britt went off her rocker simply because somebody else had wrote that question, which we later find out in this episode? I think it was Angela. Angela wrote the question about why Kenya isn't like nice or doesn't say nice things to Britt. And Kenya said, I say nice things to everybody. And she generalized the statement because she didn't want to make it about Britt. And then Britt kind of like felt like, oh yeah, I'm about to pop off. And she started bumping them gums. And because Kenya called her a peasant, she got very offended and started to fly off her rocker. The real issue was that Britt kept referring to that weapon of metal that she had, and she kept referring to the fact that she got it on her, and that girl don't know her like that, and she will get her metal weapon. Bravo. So you're telling me the fact that Britt repeated that more than one time wasn't a problem for you? Because there are other people on this set. It wasn't just a Britt and Kenya feud at that point, because Kenya was now with Portia and Shamia. And so you're telling me that, or maybe it was Portia and Drew, whoever it was Portia and some other people getting in the car. So you're telling me that it's okay for Britt to do that and for Kenya to take a picture that is online, that is probably easily accessible, because my whole thing is, how did Kenya get it if it's not easily accessible? Now, she did say she had a private investigator, but I'm sure they scrubbed the internet to find it. And if these people already know that you was on that type of time and you probably was making money off of that type of stuff, then Kenya didn't expose something that wasn't already exposed. The real issue with y'all today is y'all gonna find a reason to be the victim. Y'all gonna find a reason to attack the person that decides to do it direct. So Britt was around here popping off, making these statements, but she was never directly saying it to Kenya. And so I guess because she didn't directly make the threat, then she wasn't necessarily guilty of anything. But because Kenya was as direct as she could. Now, Kenya pushed it. Kenya ran out. Paying her in dust was definitely insane. Now, I think that Kenya probably should have. She could have like said she couldn't come to the event, but I think to make the entire opening of that salon about her, it took away from the fact that she did such an amazing job like bringing this entire salon together successfully. The hair show and just the authenticity of that entire experience prior to that point. She diminished all of that by simply and plainly deciding that she was going to share those pictures in that form. Now, I honestly feel like she could have shared those pictures in a different way, and I don't think it would have had the same impact. Now, that's the only thing that I'm going to agree with y'all on. She ain't had to put it on posters in front of everybody and that type of vibe. I do feel like it made people uncomfortable, and I think anybody would be uncomfortable if you starting to share pictures or something like that. But in my opinion, Kenya was just as wrong as Britt. Point blank, period.